Hey, everybody, Kevin here with Pursuing Pixels, and welcome back to another edition of Save It for the Cast. You know the drill by now. As per usual, I'm going to kick the ball over to John, Randall, and I. We got the full trio here this week, and we're kind of all over the map talking all sorts of video games. We talk a little more Return of the Obra Dinn, which is my resolution game for this year. We will talk about it on a proper episode here at some point, but that kind of spins us off into like a little Kentucky Route Zero, where the like retro threshold is at, like, is it 10 years or, where, we just go all over the map, little AAA, time capsules, collectathons, all sorts of video game talk this week. But as per usual, I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that I've been playing lately. And I've been kind of all over the map. I've still been playing a bunch of UFO 50. I've been recording a handful of videos for some of my favorites in the collection. And some of the last, the games are all released chronologically in the collection, or, pseudo-chronologically. So two of the last three games in the collection, so not the final one, but Seaside Drive and Campanella 3, I've been really kind of hooked on both of those. They kind of play little bit similarly, like they have two different buttons for shooting in different directions, if you will. Seaside Drive is more of like a 2D shoot 'em up, and you play in like a convertible car. And best that I know, this one was developed by the developer of Downwell, which is one of my favorite games of all time. And I wouldn't put this game anywhere near that, caliber, but it's just oozing with polish, and the music's amazing, the pixel art's amazing, and then the gameplay is amazing as well. Again, you're playing as this essentially all in one, but like you're this character in a convertible car, and then you can either fire like in front of or behind you with one button. And then with the other button, you can fire like above you. And then you're also like, it's just a 2-button game in that regard. And then you're also able to steer with like the, D-pad or joystick or whatever. But while you're steering, you're also, especially I guess whether you're aiming in front of or behind you with the one button, or whether you're aiming, where your arc is going, or angling at the top. I shouldn't say arc, but where it's like, angling when you're shooting upward. Is also, you're steering at the same time. So it's kind of difficult, or you got to kind of juggle those two, your steering controls and your aiming controls with the same joystick or the same D-pad or whatever. And it gets pretty tricky at times. And then on top of that, you have like a charge meter for your weapon. And it's got 3 kind of phases to it. And the only way to charge it is by going backwards or to the left on the screen. You're essentially kind of like drifting, almost like Mario Kart style, and that's like charging up your meter, and then you can drive forward, but the longer that you go without driving back again, that charge meter can go down. It's pretty easy to keep it filled up, but once you start getting into a predicament where you just have to keep dodging left and right, or like dodging forward and back, I guess I should say, and then you're, stuck on the front half of the screen, and you can't really like, backpedal and charge up. You can really get yourself into a tight predicament. But there's some cool elements as well. Like if you beat a stage without dying, it goes into like kind of like a breakout mode on like a black screen, and there's this like coin in a bubble. And then it just you have to keep that bubble alive while you shoot. You don't have to just hit it with that, the bricks up at the top of the screen with the bubble. You can also just blast away with your gun. But if you clear all those while keeping the bubble alive, then you get 2 extra lives at the end of the stage. I still haven't beaten this one. I've made it to the final stage. There's only 4 stages, but it's just oozing with charm and polish, and it's just such a cool game. And then Campanella 3, it's more of like a 3D, almost like Star Fox style shoot 'em up, more like on rails, I guess more like Space Harrier or something like that. But you're like flying like straight ahead towards the, screen, and enemies are flying at you, but they're also coming in from like the sides, top, bottom, left, right of the screen as well. And then those enemies that are coming at you will eventually get to the same plane that you're in. So on top of, with one button, kind of similar to Seaside Drive here, with one button, you're able to kind of fire forward, and take the enemies out before they get to your, plane. And then if not, then you have to press another button, but it's kind of works a little bit funky because your ship, like if you're flying to the left, that fire button will then shoot to the right. And if you're flying down, it'll shoot up, and, so on from there. But it gets pretty dang tricky to be like juggling your positioning and where you want to be firing. And obviously there's enemies like on your plane that you have to deal with one button. And at the same time, there's enemies still flying towards the screen or firing projectiles at you. And it turns into like, I wouldn't say like a bullet hell at any point. At least I've only made it to the second stage. It's still pretty dang tough regardless of the lack of projectiles, but it just gets so cool to like juggle those two, I guess, shooting modes in both of these games, not just in Campanella 3. I've just been really having a great time. Those have been kind of my two go-to games, on top of still being pretty hooked on Campanella 2, which is more of like the roguelike. People have called it like Spelunky 3. I'm pretty sure I talk about this one on a proper episode coming up, so I won't dig into it too much here, but I've also still been playing a little Shadow of the Ninja Reborn. I went back and recorded a video for that one and got kind of into the zone. I talked about this one, I think, on the podcast proper with John, or maybe it was on a Save It for the Cast, but this is that like remake or reimagining that I always say of the NES game, which I had never really played much of other than on the Switch Online service, but it's really, really cool. And now that I got kind of into the zone and, got over the little difficulty hump, I'm still only on I think I beat the second stage, or I made it to the boss on the second stage, which unfortunately I thought I was going to continue right from there. But unfortunately, the stage is like broken up into 3 chunks and you got to start all the way back from stage 2-1. But now that I kind of know it is one of those, like in true retro fashion, you do have to kind of like not memorize the stage, but it definitely helps to like know what's coming with the bosses and with the enemy layouts and stuff like that. But just really love the pixel art in that one. And then a couple of games that I've also talked about before on the podcast. I actually saw the credits roll on Pepper Grinder. I've been kind of waiting to play that one because I've just been like, man, should I stream this one or should I record a video? Because I only ever did a video of like the demo. And eventually I was just like, you know what? I just feel like digging into like a little platformer. And I can always stream it another time if I'm not, I was just watching some football the other day and decided to fire this one up and start digging into it, and ended up playing through it over the weekend. And it's pretty short and sweet. It only took me like 3 or 4 hours to play through the entire game. I didn't get every single collectible, but best that I know, I did play all the stages. There's like 5 coins to collect on any given stage, and it's like a pretty traditional 2D platformer. I guess not, I shouldn't say traditional, but you're like able to like, you have this drill kind of, I was going to say similar to Drill Dozer, but it's definitely more of like a fluid drilling mechanic where you're able to like drill down into the ground and then basically like very 360 degree control with your joystick, like almost like swim around in the dirt or whatever substance that you're able to drill into on any given stage. There's 4 worlds. Again, the game's pretty short and sweet. There's like if you collect enough of those coins on the stages, you only need 10 per world, or 10, and there's a shop in each world, and you only need 10 coins to buy like the key that unlocks like one more stage in each world. But those coins carry over, and again, there's 5 in each stage, and I think there's 4 stages on outside of the hidden stage in each world, which also have the coins, the hidden stages. So like you can definitely rack them up pretty easily. You can buy other things with those coins as well. But I was just like, okay, I just want to like play through the whole game. There was definitely some frustrating moments, especially towards the end, like the boss battles. It's just like, where is this hitbox on this boss? But I did end up just powering all the way through, and was happy to see the credits roll on that one. And I still might actually go back and get some of the coins, because some of the stages really did have some cool secret like layouts and stuff like that. I just really liked like how they hid things and like kind of just hinted at them enough where I was like, okay, I just wasn't paying enough attention when I played through that the first time, because you are just kind of like ripping through the stages. But again, it does get a little frustrating at times, because like you got to like really nail the angle of like launching yourself out of the dirt to land on a certain platform or to hit a boss or something like that. So it has its frustrating moments, but still really, really enjoyed playing all the way through that one. And then I did pick up a physical copy of Nuclear Blaze, because I guess we kind of dig into picking up copies, Randall in particular, and never opening them. These days I've gotten a little bit better about that. And yeah, I unwrapped my copy of Nuclear Blaze just the other day over the weekend as well. This is kind of another short and sweet precision puzzle platformer, action puzzle platformer. It's kind of like a good mix of all those elements with some really cool pixel art. It's actually from one of the developers of Dead Cells, who's kind of like branched off and done their own solo developer thing. They're actually working on a new like kind of like some kind of karate or taekwondo roguelike top-down combat game that looks absolutely amazing. that I think Devolver just picked up or recently picked up, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there. But Nuclear Blaze, back to this, it's like a firefighting action puzzle, platformer, with some really cool pixel art and some really cool like effects and some really cool music from Pentadrangle, who does all the Punk Cake stuff as well these days. But just really, really love this game. I've beaten it before and talked about it on the podcast before. And going back to it, the only thing that I'll say, like going back and playing it again, like I remember like the later parts of the game and you kind of have to unlock a few of the abilities, like being able to like shoot and aim your hose like upwards, or being able to dodge roll and stuff like that. So I was like kind of like ready to, I was like, man, where's all my abilities? I don't remember this game being so simple. But then as I unlock things, I was like, oh, okay. They kind of pace things out. I kind of forgot about that. And then there's like this hold my beer mode, which they did release on like the, Steam and PC version as well. It's not just on this physical copy, but I think it's just like a more challenging mode. And I actually checked out the kids mode, which totally like eliminates the jump button and it auto aims your hose. And it's actually just a totally set of like bespoke stages where you just have to rescue all the cats. And it just like auto jumps for you, auto aims, like I said, and like you have an infinite range practically with your hose. So it's pretty cool. Like especially on the back of the, or maybe it says it, I was going to say on the back of the game box, but I think it's actually just like within the game menu or whatever. It says like it was designed for their 3-year-old son. But just really cool to include both, extra challenging mode and then a super simple mode to just be like, hey, you want to check out this firefighter game? If you got any kiddos or anything like that. But yeah, I've been playing a few other things as well, but I feel like I've done more than enough rambling here. So I'm going to leave it there and kick the ball over to John, Randall, and I for the rest of the episode here. And until next week, we'll catch you then and take care. I talked to John about it a little bit last time too. I finally did start Return of the Obra Dinn. We didn't talk about it on the podcast proper, but been playing a little bit of that.
Nice.
So I don't know if I'm going to talk about it here tonight, but
getting an early start on it. That's good.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I get a jump on it.
Yeah,
I'll make sure to play more before the next recording so we can get that in.
Yeah, I don't know if are you planning on dipping into it at all, Randall, or don't feel obligated to if.
I pulled the game off the shelf. I haven't taken any plastic wrap off, but it's been sitting there,
I forgot that you got the physical copy of that one. Forgot that there even was a physical copy of that one.
Yeah, it's even numbered on the back. I'm like, should I open?
Dang.
But then that's
I know.
It gets real demented when you go down these sort of rabbit holes at this point. But it came out so early in the Switch life that it's like,
I was going to say, does it, if it has a booklet inside, I would be so interested to see what like the manual or booklet says. Ooh, if
it's from Limited Run, so it might very well
space for notes to write.
I would never do that anyway. I'm not writing anything in that manual.
But at least you could recreate the format of the notes in your own notebook. It is like, oh, this is what it thinks pertinent information is in this.
Or even if it just had the ship's log, of all the
I
names,
know.
like just instead of having to pull it up digitally. Oh my God. I would buy a notebook. I bet you can like go on like some website and find like a printable thing where you can print out like the manifest and stuff like that.
Seems like an Etsy sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they should, like, the developers should sell that.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, or who knows, there might have even been like a massive deluxe edition of the physical copy or something. But.
All right, y'all sold me into keeping the physical and opening it. I will be the one to.
I mean, they have.
It's a cool game. I'll say all I'll say about it here is that I doubt I'll ever finish it or even come anywhere near it. But
just embrace that you're going to make mistakes. It's part of the game. Just push through.
I like this already.
I don't know about that,
buddy.
I just don't know because I just sit there and like just second guess too much, and it just seems like I'll just spend too much time not doing anything.
This is the game to push you out of your comfort zone.
Some choose your own adventure shit sounding stuff going on here. It's interesting.
It's almost like just like pure freedom. It's like weird.
It's so good.
Not freedom, but
God, yeah, I'm just looking at the deck.
Pure
plans.
freedom within like a fully scripted thing. It's like, it's weird. It's a really cool. I've never played anything like it.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and like I think maybe, I don't know if we talked about it or if it even made it to the podcast, but like, what was the other game? Oh, this and like Paratopic were games that I thought were like using like film qualities of like games as film in such a more interesting way than I think that like other games have taken it. Like I think Naughty Dog has taken the idea of like games as film as a way is like, oh, well, we're going to just like have like scenes play out in front of you or in the background as you're moving through a hallway.
Yep.
Whereas like Paratopic and Obra Dinn like really take the idea of like you moving around in physical scenes in a way where it's like, oh, this is, but like Obra Dinn especially, where it's like, all right, we are like freezing time. And
Yeah, it's almost like you like strap on a VR headset and like you're walking around in a space.
yeah, and like but you can inspect every like aspect of the scene. But there's not, it's not like the same like immersive sim stuff where like there's like, oh, here's like all of the objects that you can interact with. Like it's literally just looking because you can't interact with it.
So you're not
like,
picking it up and rotating every single thing on the planet.
No,
exactly. Okay. It is you positioning yourself like looking at a like stage play.
Okay.
Or like this, oh my God, the Kentucky Route Zero. I'm pretty sure I talked about this last time, but like there is one of the interludes in Kentucky Route Zero is you at a bar, or that is also a play. There's a play going on at a bar, and like you can move around, but the play continues to go on.
I love it.
Like that is also the shit that I want from like games as like mixed media or like movies.
Yes.
Like, Kentucky Route Zero did so many good things with so many different mediums. Like there was an entire section that is about like being at a fine art gallery. And it is the most accurate depiction of a fine art gallery I've ever seen in any media ever.
Damn.
Like every movie or TV show about art is bullshit and sucks and
I believe that.
not accurate. But like seeing a like video game do it in a way that nothing else ever has, I'm like, fuck, Kentucky Route Zero is such a good game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Another game that I own physically that sits on my shelf.
Oh, have you played any of it?
No.
Oh,
I'm glad I'm not the only one, Randall, that never plays. I sometimes boot them up, but that's about it.
yeah, I know. I like me with Steam has just been me getting, I'm going to buy the Tomb Raider series that's 99 cents on sale right now. I'm going to buy Just Cause for $1. Like,
I kind of get it though. They're kind of like, I don't know. They're just kind of, those games are all fun to just turn on to fuck around with for a little while, right? Like,
and they're
like
the way you play, John.
now they're a piece of history and like a point in time of like, this is what games were for a period of time. And now that we've moved away from like a lot of them, they are kind of like a trip back. Like I have like a couple of the Assassin's Creed games, which I never played, but like it's kind of like the evolution of the like collectathon open world that like, I don't know if that exists anymore or like what that is.
Yeah, and that was kind of like the evolution of like GTA kind of.
Yeah.
Almost like
a different branch of it, in a sense.
Yeah, we're getting like the weird proto-revival collectathons where people are remaking the original inspiration of them using modern technology, like indie spaces recreating them. It's like, I feel like we're going to like be atomizing these cycles of like how quickly like a genre fades. Like I saw someone talking about there's this game, it's a fishing game, I don't remember what it's called, that like just came out like maybe a couple days ago, and people in the comments were like, I was nostalgic for a Roblox game, and I'm like, shut up, you can't be nostalgic for Roblox. Like that, we've made this cycle too short.
Say, are you 19? What do you mean?
Like, you cannot like, and the the fucking Discord and talking about like, oh, when is a game retro? And like 10 years seems too short, man. Like
that was always the rule on Retronauts, I thought.
Yep.
I know, but that still seems too short. Like
It kind of does, because like, I mean, you're really talking about, in a lot of cases, I mean, for how much longer are we even going to be talking about console generations? But like,
right.
I feel like you're only really talking about like one console, and then the next console is like usually, you know, within the 10-year period.
Yeah.
From the launch of one, like you're only one console removed from the last one.
It's the modern context of it all that way, right? Because you know, there's a through line from basically 360 to present of just like iterating on graphics and performance, more or less, right? Versus the before times, you know, were way more rapid change and a lot more experimentation hardware wise.
Such a big gap
leaps,
between the NES and like the N64.
Unbelievable.
Between the N64 and the Wii. Like,
big time. Yes. Agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yikes.
It is kind of wild. It is kind of wild.
But then you got schmoes like me that are going to buy the new Nintendo 64 for $250 in a matter of days.
Ooh, is that what it costs?
Yeah.
That actually seemed on the relatively cheap side, or at least their standard price, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, I know it has the 8-bit DOE controller support. What is the actual, like, upgrades? Like,
the upgrade is really the biggest thing is being able to play 64 games on a 4K monitor or TV effectively without like the current state, like
dongle hell.
Dongle hell, yeah. Upscalers, and even like, you know, Nintendo only ever officially supported a video out adapter that went up through S-Video, essentially, right, in the first place. So there's a lot of room for opportunity there. And it seems like they want to be really true to like, this is what it could look like, you know, on a CRT, but now like upscaled, like, you know, authentically to a 4K experience or whatever. And, you know, those sort of things. And but then it also has, you know, wireless support, or you could plug in a USB controller or arcade stick or whatever. You know, I could do the same thing on the Duo they released, you know, regarding the turbo graphics and PC Engine stuff. So you get a little bit more support for different controllers that way too. And, you know, for sickos like me, it has value above and beyond like the N64 Switch Online thing, because, you know, we have like the wrestling third-party games and these other weird one-offs on 64 that you're never going to get on a platform like that. But, you know, I still
licensing
have those
hell.
cartridges.
Like,
licensing hell.
Or you could even, because you can load ROMs on there and stuff too.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you ever want to, like, let me just try some stuff.
In theory, I don't know if
or like a cart. Yeah, I guess
ever done that for Duo, but they've done that on the previous analog machines.
Maybe Urban.
Yeah, when do they start doing limited remake runs of like N64 carts? And then
it's already been
do a little bit, yeah. But yeah, when they have even like a viable platform,
Yep. It's already been happening.
Yeah,
I've grabbed, you know, they did that with some of like the Star Wars games through limited run a while back, and
weird.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm like, well, that's very specific and never going to happen again. So let me grab any of these I had any interest in to get like a new manufactured cartridge of, I don't know, Shadow of the whatever it's called, which is not even that good of a game, but, you know, always intrigued me.
Classic in a way.
Yeah. So I'll be buying it, but I was always a Nintendo 64 kid in the first place. So, you know, I've got the collection to justify it from childhood, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, there's been rumors, but I wasn't holding my breath by any stretch.
Yeah. I just know, like, with that system having like a little bit more limited of a library, I just didn't know if they would like dip into doing it. But people love the 64.
Complicated emulation on that one too, and just like non-standard button layouts and stuff. Like, there's a lot of specificity to the Nintendo 64 versus
the expansion pass or pack or whatever, all that little weird stuff. Yeah.
Yep. All that's baked in, baby.
I'll probably do. Realistically, I'll probably just do like Kingdom on one episode and then UFO 50 on the other episode. I've just got another kind of selection of games that I've been playing. Still pretty sucked into that, even though I can't say I love it. I've sucked into it. I'm
something to be said for that.
Fascinated.
Yeah.
I've put like 8.5 hours in now, I think.
Nice.
I was surprised that it actually has you could have an actual file select and it keeps track of your time and stuff. I was like, oh, it's kind of cool. But that's not even some of that is the stuff I like. It keeps track of each individual game and which one's the most played.